streaming shortly. You should be hearing us now, if not soon. And I'm going to be talking to an old, long-time friend. Not old, but long-time friend.
Are we on?
Merry Christmas. I think we should be on.
Merry Christmas, everyone, in case you could hear it. Well,
okay.
Hey, there's people,
turn down
people are coming in.
Is that my phone or yours?
Oh, that's mine. I thought I put my volume down.
I know.
Oh, you don't
Turn
have
that
my
down.
ringer off, but that's different. Okay.
Yeah.
I thought ringer off meant volume off. Okay, I'm off.
All right.
We're
Let's
good.
get this going.
What up?
So good.
Oh, it's the Hake Report, the Hake Report, la la la. Oh, it's the Hake Report, the Hake Report, la la la.
Good morning, guys. I'm here with Anthony Solorzano, filmmaker of Varsity Punks, and longtime high school friend. I've known him forever, and you're going to get to know him too. And you can call in 888-775-3773, or you can just talk crap in the live chat.
Oh, it's the Hake Report, the Hake Report, la la la. Oh, it's the Hake Report, the Hake Report, la la la.
So, good morning, guys. I am James Hake. I'm host of the Hake Report, and I am here with a very special guest, Anthony Solorzano, who is a longtime friend of mine, as you heard. He is a kind of like a childhood friend, adulthood friend, and everything type of friend. And a Facebook friend, I think.
We are still Facebook friends.
Yeah. And we've gone through a lot. And I last year, around this time, I was in Big Bear. Many of you may not be aware of this. And I interviewed a buddy of mine, also from high school, named AJ Gallardo. And he was a teammate of mine, same class as me. And it turns out that he has stayed friends with both of us. And he wrote the music for this film called Varsity Punks that Anthony wrote and directed and recorded. And Anthony Solorzano is founder of Solorzano Films.
There's no Solorzano film. We actually call it Top 7 Productions right now.
Oh, right on. And top 7 refers to varsity, because varsity is the top 7 for cross country.
Yeah.
And we were all cross country friends. And cross country is running. In high school, you run 3 miles, 3-mile races across like any course, like not an obstacle
Park,
course.
trails,
Yeah.
around the school, parking lots, the forest.
And so that is called cross country. And it's not gay. Most of us are not gay.
Who called it gay? Nobody's calling it gay.
But people used to call us gay because running, they're like, it's running a sport, because everybody was all about football.
True.
And in the 70s, I think it became popular, and so did, anyway, never mind.
Yeah, that's
Let's stay away from that. So, in our high school, our high school was pretty well known for cross country, and not so much for football. And there was some jealousy among the football coaches and fighting between the football players and the high schoolers. And it got dramatic even at points, but it was always fun. And Anthony used to be pretty mischievous. And with some of our circle of friends, we got into some drama. After he graduated, I was in school. It was nuts. And Small Snick says football is gay. All right, thank you. I appreciate that. But this movie is a little bit about that type of drama, high school stuff, coming of age, and it kind of reminds me of a little bit of Swingers. Swingers is a coming of age type of movie. These two guys are going to Vegas.
Have you seen Varsity Punks?
I have. I watched it.
I'm trying to think which screening did you go. We only had a few selected screenings around.
So I went and saw this movie maybe a year and a half ago at Big Bear. You were
right.
projecting it on the tennis court.
That's right.
He's gone around the country and shown this movie that he kind of made himself with some help. And one guy is in it. It's crazy. It's crazy that he wanted to get the bad guy from Spider-Man.
James
the
Franco?
son.
James
Yeah,
Franco.
James Franco.
You know, early casting picks.
I think that he could do it. But he got Pedro.
Efren Ramirez.
Efren Ramirez. And he's, you would not know that was Pedro. Because he's like totally different from that actor. And so you broke him out of the typecast, so congratulations for that.
Thank you.
You did a nice job, too.
Thank you.
I wanted to show a little bit of the trailer for this movie, just so you guys catch a feel for it. Get a feel for his humor, too, Anthony's sense of humor. Catch it.
Watch out, fool.
Sorry.
All you know is football and partying.
You think you're the just because you can run?
Hey! Hey, I thought you were too cool to run.
See you at the finish line, bro.
So.
Yeah, that's a truncated version of the
very
trailer.
truncated.
That's not the full trailer.
I clipped it down. Yeah. And you can catch the full trailer on the link in the description to the Varsity Punks YouTube channel. And I have more to show you towards the end. But you get a feel for this high school drama. Macho-ness. It's cool.
Yeah, it's just, you know, just like you were saying with football, there's a social hierarchy in high school. And I particularly wanted to put attention to it and how it exists in sports, you know, from being the coolest to being the uncoolest and fitting in somewhere in the middle, and what dictates those things, whether it be socioeconomic factors, you know, or you know, how you dress, what music you listen to, what people you hang out with, and what sport you play even.
Right.
It dictates that. And so I want to explore that whole hierarchy through sports. You know, for those people, there's a few people concerned about like, oh, is this a sports thing? We're just going to talk about sports. No, not so much sports. If anything, we use it as a vehicle to express larger issues about, you know, culture, about coming of age and about being a teenager and trying to belong.
You know, when I was in high school, before I got to high school, running wasn't my thing. But when I got to it, my whole family ran, as you know.
Yeah,
and
part of
like
a legacy.
my dad went to the same high school that we all went to, back when it was way back.
Yeah.
Not that far back.
The Hakes go back.
And so, but when I became in high school, like running became more like my life. And I don't know if it became that way for you, but it seems to become that way for a lot of these guys in this movie. And it's weird that like it becomes your identity. Whatever you get into, it becomes like so important to you. And it's kind of good in that you're supposed to like pour yourself into what you're doing, but it also becomes like a pride thing, and it becomes so traumatic if you get an injury or you don't win when you're supposed to win and you choke or whatever. So the running is like the backdrop, but it's also part of the drama.
Yeah. And, you know, I mean, not just about being in sports, but I think just at that age, you're so vulnerable and everything's traumatic, whether it be a girl sending you some note that you've got a funny nose or, you know, or just anything, your parents being mean, you know, something. Everything is a big deal, you know. This grade that you got on that report that you worked on so much, everything's kind of traumatic. So everything, you're just really sensitive to those. They make a big impression on you. You know?
And you guys made it fun. Like when I first came into, I met you when my dad took us all to Disneyland. I guess you guys got perfect attendance in cross country or something.
Oh, did we?
For the practices.
I remember going to Disneyland.
Yeah, we went to Disneyland. You were a freshman and I was like in 8th grade.
Whoa. I hope I didn't miss it.
No, you were there.
Okay.
And then as we were going to practice, you would wear these T-shirts, white T-shirts, and this is like the artsiness of you. and you would like have marker on the T-shirts, and it would say, "Yes, I am a model,"
You remember that shit?
or it
huh?
would say, "Don't hate me because I'm beautiful." And you've never really gotten off of the making T-shirts thing.
No. I guess
And
not.
you've always been into like this DIY type of thing, do it yourself, and like silk screening, art, movie making. I remember when coming into freshman year, you guys did this group project where we're supposed to do this group project for science class. He was a year ahead of me, so he had this group project that they did a home video, and it was basically a home video advertising something science-based.
Oh, yeah.
And this science-based project was called InstaChamp.
InstaChamp. You remember InstaChamp?
Yeah.
You have a great memory, James.
And so, like, we had this one skinny friend of ours, Fernando, and he posed in front of this thing, and then he drank some InstaChamp, and it turned into you, and you were a little bit more muscular than most people in high school.
They're more runners.
Yeah, most runners.
Compared to
yeah.
runners.
And so you turned it into InstaChamp. So you're always like kind of creative, artsy, into this thing.
It's fun, yeah.
It's cool
I
that
find it
you're.
fun.
Are you so like right now? How do you make your living though?
So my living, I have to juggle a few jobs. I substitute teach at the high school level. You know, it plays into the whole style of my work where I'm kind of on call. So like if I had like a full-time job and I wanted to go work on a project, music video or whatever,
Yeah.
I can't just tell my employer, hey, I'm gone for 2 weeks. I'll see you back in a bit. Like, no, it can't fly. So with subbing, you know, and you work whatever days you want. You're
That's
on a
nice.
list. And then I have a seasonal job. I do tax preparation.
I
in the
always
tax center.
found. Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
Nice. I always found substitute teaching, which I did it for a while.
Uh-huh.
That was kind of traumatic.
Yeah? Was
Because
it?
dealing with the bad kids, I didn't know how to handle these bad kids. And like I made one kid cry, like
You
I yelled at
did?
him.
Wow.
And like I got to where I was just not even answering the phone because you get a phone call at 6 in the morning, 5:45
You were so
in the
worked
morning.
up, huh?
Yeah.
You let the teenagers get to you, bro.
Actually, it wasn't even teens. It
wasn't even
the first
teenagers?
graders.
This kid we're talking about that you made cry, I was imagining a teenager, but this was 6-year-old
Yeah.
Billy.
And it was
Billy,
beginning of school year,
Billy
so he's basically a
Gonzalez.
kindergarten.
All right.
I chased him around the room. I yelled at him. It was pathetic. Hopefully, I'm stronger now.
Yeah, kids.
But man, you ever do the younger kids or mainly high
I
school?
did. When I started, I was doing kindergarten even, which is weird because you know, at the elementary level, kindergarten level, it's mostly females.
Yeah.
And for a male teacher, and at the time I was still new, so I showed up in a suit.
Nice.
what the heck? Imagine a dude in a suit showing up to sub for kindergarten. It was
That's funny.
weird. It threw everybody off. Even the ladies at the front. It's like, are we getting audited or what's going on? Like,
Nice.
who are you? I'm like, I'm here to like read pop-up books.
Nice.
And then I got it. I'm like, okay, there's a dress code to it. I mean, there's like a comfort zone to it.
Right.
And in my head, I was just like, oh, I just want to be professional, you know. And I didn't think it out well. But yeah, I did start off with the little kids, and it's a different type of patience, dealing with elementary school kids and high school kids.
Yeah.
And my personality, I think, goes better with the high school kids.
Right.
So with little kids, I think it's more like tricking them into doing what they got to do. It's like, guys, we're gonna take a test, you know. And if you show that enthusiasm and you
Right.
just kind of play this the right
Sound
way,
happy?
yeah, they'll be like, all right, cool, we're gonna take a test. That's gonna be fun.
Yeah.
With high school kids, you know, they're smart enough where you got to reason with them. You got to persuade them.
Yeah.
And you know, you got to win them over with a good personality. Like you got to use humor and that little bit of fear, you know, that
Right.
that makes like almost like a good coach, right? Like you
Yes.
love them, but you're scared of them.
Uh-huh.
Like behind you a little bit. Or it's like, okay, cool. I don't want to. So that when they're going down the line, because they can, if you're just friendly with them and just, you know, cracking jokes, and they go too far. They take it too far. They start crossing the lines.
Yeah.
And that's when you just reel it back in. We're like, oh, I'm unhappy and he's unhappy. They could see it, and they come back in. But I think I have it down now. the
I
whole
can
high
see
school
it.
kid.
I could see that. So I have a caller, and I'm not sure who it is or what he wants or she. but I'm going to go to it. Caller, what's your name and where are you calling from?
Hey, this is Low Tech Greg, Wilmington, Delaware. How you doing?
Nice, Greg.
What's up,
Fine. Greg is a long time
so
caller.
both of you guys are vulnerable. You guys suck.
We suck.
No, help! I'm just reinforcing your teaching trauma.
Nice.
I was always a bad kid, by the way. That's funny.
So you would
I have a
traumatize
question.
you traumatized the substitute teacher?
Oh my God! I led my grade every single year of my life in going to the office. Yes. I didn't really. I mean, that wasn't my intent. My intent was just to have a good time at school.
That's
Nice.
cool.
Right on. That makes sense.
Yeah. So my question is, the reason I'm outing myself as low tech, I used to be able to just go on YouTube and get your show. Now I got to sign in here, sign in there. Is there just a straight up way where you can go to your website and hit something and listen?
Yeah, if you go to thehakereport.com, I usually put up a banner at the top, and that is a link that goes right to the particular YouTube video that this is.
Yeah, when I do that, it makes me sign in, and I'm on my iPhone. I don't remember what my YouTube sign is, so won't let me go in.
Oh,
I don't
man.
think it'll just let you go on there without being a subscriber.
You should get the YouTube app and sign in, and then you're already in forever.
Right, and that's what I need to do.
Yeah. Get high tech.
You're missing the entire low tech segment of the market.
I know. What a shame. We'll
yeah,
have to expand later.
Yeah, but it's a great show.
All right,
thank
appreciate
you,
it,
guys.
Greg. Nice to hear from you.
Yep. You too. Bye. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Or Happy Holidays. Do you say Happy Holidays or Merry Christmas?
I switch off
All
sometimes.
right, right on.
Whatever
Yeah,
I
you know
feel.
what? There is this underlying thing between me and all my friends, where I'm like the conservative guy, and then the rest of them are like liberal or something, or just non-political.
Okay.
And I think of you as being pretty non-political, but you do lean liberal.
Okay.
For example, I remember a story when I was in high school. My dad was listening to Rush Limbaugh, and he said, he's just recounted that story to me like years ago, that he was listening to it and you're like, turn this off, or something
Really?
like that. Yeah.
I don't remember that either.
That's funny. And like
I don't
in
know if
general,
I would say that to your dad though. Like,
maybe you were, maybe you just made a funny comment. Maybe it's somebody else.
I would not tell your dad, turn it off. I might maybe say something, but I definitely wouldn't say,
Right.
turn it off.
And but he was chuckling about it. Like he didn't take it. I think of my dad as kind of non-political too, in that he does have political beliefs, but he just doesn't talk about it that much. He's just not that into it. Whereas my older brother John, and I now, and then like my sister-in-law and others, they're very political. And like I've gotten into it. I used to hate it because like I didn't like how John would get with other people and it would get fighting. And even when we would discuss it in like college class, you know, you're taking critical thinking class and then you get into debate and then people get heated. I didn't like that drama. I only started to like it after hearing Jesse Lee Peterson, whose studio we're in, because he broke it down into like a basic right and wrong. And he's like, is it right or is it wrong? And then at that point, like he took the emotion out of it, which was nice. But like me still being like a high stress type of a guy, like I would get emotional about it. So I became that angry political person.
Yeah.
And there are others among our circle of friends who are also angry political people on the other side. And like with Facebook and with other forums, there was a forum that one of our other white friends created, and like I invited everybody to watch that Jesus movie that Mel Gibson made.
Okay.
and somebody said, we're not into that. And then this other guy was like, yeah, I don't know. It was basically like chomping on me. And I was like, got defensive. And then in Facebook, when people just post stuff and they can be venting or whatever, and then there's all this infighting and stuff, that created like a major division. Do you think Facebook is a positive or a negative for friendships?
I've seen it as a positive for myself. It can be both. It can be whatever you make it.
Yeah, it depends on the person.
There's no black and white on it.
Right.
It's a forum, and it is what people make it. It is a way for me to keep in touch with people that I don't see. I might not see for years.
Right.
But I know what they did for spring break, and I know that they just had a kid, and I know that they just got a promotion at work.
Yeah.
And it allows us to keep in touch. I just had my 20-year high school reunion.
Oh, really?
A few weeks ago, yeah, and it was a great event, better than I ever imagined. I myself was actually part of the planning committee.
Okay.
And we were able to reach out with a lot of people that through Facebook or any social medias.
Yeah.
And bring them back in and just have. It's almost like we didn't skip a beat, like we've been keeping in touch. And there's people. It's not. And just because you don't see someone doesn't mean you don't care that much about them.
Right.
Our adult life, we go on our different paths,
busy.
and we got a lot of you and I. Like I wish I could see more of you, but you got your own thing, and I got my own thing, and we wish each other well. And when we do get to meet up, it's great. But social media does help us stay together. So that's why it's been positive for me.
Yeah.
But yeah, it can be negative for people because there's they put up. Maybe they either rant or they're heated on their. I don't know. Maybe they're. I don't even know. I haven't explored the negative side of it.
Yeah.
And if there is, I kind of just look away from it because I don't know. I'm not there for that.
Right.
Yeah.
That makes sense. Yeah, a lot of people have like lost their jobs over it, had been forced to apologize over jokes that they've made or stuff like that. So a lot of friendships have ended. But in my mind, that's really just kind of bringing out what's inside of the person or underneath between them. Like
it could be.
You know what I mean?
It could be really inaccurate.
It may amplify it more than it's really important.
I think that's one of the big things that does happen. It's this. It gets amplified because there's a big difference in like texting someone and talking to them and then meeting them in person.
Yeah.
And that same message always
that's true.
Gets translated very differently. It's like, let's meet up. Let's have discussion to my face. But on social media, it's this like it's almost like not reality. Like you can't take it for. You can't take every word for what it's saying.
Yeah.
It's weird like that.
I had a friend that I kind of knew from online, and I met up with him and some others at a music festival. And then, like, years later, he's getting mad at other friends on social media. This is during MySpace. Mm-hmm. And because he got there's some guys, white guys, that tend to, like, get vasectomies so that they don't accidentally get a girl pregnant or something. And this guy was one of those. I know two people. I have like him and somebody else. And he's like getting mad and defensive on social media about it because people are like criticizing him because he's broadcasting on social media.
He put it out there, so
right.
We were going to talk about it.
And so like I criticize him for being angry about it, not so much the vasectomy because that's his life.
Yeah.
And then like we got into a fight over it. And so like I'm mad at him for being angry at me for telling him that he's mad. He doesn't need to be this mad.
So much anger, James. Yeah. Why is there so much anger going on here?
I think that
you said angry in term to yourself so many times already.
Right. But I think that that's such a big part of I don't know, it's a big part of life.
Anger.
Yeah. Or it's a big part of, it's an underlying.
I think that's subjective too. Can you say just general anger is a big part of life? Maybe about your life, James, not about my life.
But I mean, a lot of people avoid getting into like an angry confrontation.
For sure, it's a negative. It's a negative experience. It's a negative emotion.
And I know one guy that you don't know him, but he's a friend of mine. He didn't show up to a certain event that we had invited him to. He was going to work late, but he had to run and take care of a pet that he has. Mm-hmm. And we're like criticizing him for being all into this pet, but he didn't want to say that his pet has like some type of sickness. He didn't want to say that because we're like, shoot the pet. And because we would have joked about it, and he would have taken that really hard.
Oh yeah.
And so he held it in. He just said, "No, I just did that. I just did that. I'm sorry." And meanwhile, he's not telling us the whole story that would have totally explained why he didn't show up. And so he held that in because he's judging us, assuming that we're going to say shoot the pet, because that's going to make him mad to say shoot the pet. He's going to take it too seriously. So you'll notice that people act in a way or maneuver or hold things back in a way that they really don't need to. They just are afraid of their own reaction to the person's reaction. And they're assuming the other person is going to react in a bad way, and they don't even know that. You notice that? You ever notice that?
I don't know. I'm trying to soak in that whole observation. Of
Right.
this. Yeah.
I'm being vague about it.
You are. I almost need a more precise example, but it's
All right.
okay. We'll take it.
Okay. Man, I'm tempted to tell the whole story.
It's all right. We can.
Yeah. But
we can move
anyways,
on.
I wanted to talk about you wanted to talk about representation of minorities and like subcultures in cinema.
Yes. Sure. Yeah.
And I can kind of sympathize with it. I don't like the word representation.
Okay.
To me, like that's
it's
a
out there a
political
lot.
word.
You know what? Maybe it is, and it probably got into like my subconscious now.
Right.
Why I use that word is just because it's out there.
It's a good word for like pitching it to like people, because most
maybe that's why
most of them are PR, PC type of, because that's a PC word.
people understand what it
Politically
means,
correct.
right?
Yeah. But then, like, for me, that part was a turnoff. But then when I see the movie, when I see, for example, like the representation that you have in there, it's kind of genuine. Like I could see, because I lived that same life that you are portraying, I saw the Asian kid who uses Mexican slang.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because we had a guy named Simon, who we called Simon. And then there was another Asian guy named Simon, younger, who was called Simonito.
Yeah.
And then we had like others, like all kinds of people. I don't want to name like too many names.
Yeah.
But anyways, like it was genuine, because I see so many movies and like they have that Hispanic accent, and it's like, oh gosh, turn off. It feels so like they're kissing up.
Cartoonish too.
Yeah.
It just, for me, it feels cartoonish. Like,
Right.
Like you said, not genuine.
Right. And so I like that. You have anything else to say about that?
Sure. Well, I mean, authenticity in the movie was our first priority. It's just, there's with so many challenges on making an indie film, with, having the right production value and the right casting and the acting and everything turned out right. At the end of the day, all decisions kind of went to, like, is this going to help our authenticity? So even the casting of it and the writing of it, the scenes and the language and the dialogue that we used, we always wanted to stick to, like, are we telling an authentic story, right?
Yeah.
Because that's, as an indie filmmaker, you can be bold enough to take things that are not common on mainstream cinema. So just being bold enough to be truthful with whatever you're representing, and not watering it down or making it more mainstream.
Right.
That would just, we would lose our whatever.
I think that
zest
fits.
we had.
I think that fits like with social media, and because people like the realness that comes with social media, YouTubers and stuff like that. People like that realness, or that behind the scenes almost look, or even like a home video type of feel. Like there's a fight scene where like the camera seems to get all jumbled, and it's all, it's just like,
it's kind of in there.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's a pleasure to the reality of it.
Yeah. You've always liked that. Like I remember you filmed like the Cops in Texas.
Yeah. Little projects that were just running around
in high school.
And what were we even using? Because phones did not have cameras.
You guys had a camcorder.
Oh, we had a camcorder. We
Yeah,
were just
your
running around with a
family had-
camcorder, just messing around. Just kids,
Right.
running around doing stuff, pretending that we're cops. Hey, we arrested you, And, I mean,
You guys stormed AJ's house.
yeah, we stormed AJ's
And,
house,
like,
pulled
arrested
him out
him.
of his bed. He was like not even dressed.
Right.
It's just hilarious. It's that was like social media vlogging
Right.
before there was social media.
That's funny, man.
Yeah.
I got some callers. Let's see
Yeah.
who's here.
What's up?
Caller, what's your name and where you calling from? Hello.
Hey, what's going on? Hey, James, this is KT calling from Maryland. How are you?
All right, KT, how are you?
Doing good, doing good. So I heard you talking about being substitute teachers in the past, and
Yeah.
I have a couple questions. I have a couple questions for the guest.
Yeah.
What do you think about? What do you think about? Oh, actually, before I ask the question, you also talked about DIY. Do it yourself stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So, what do you think about homeschooling your kids? That's the first question. And number two is, tell us two things about James that his audience does not know about him.
Oh wow, these are good questions. Is this guy on the
Nice,
payroll?
KT.
All right,
Is this guy on the payroll?
I'll
He
hang
should
up
be.
and listen.
All right, appreciate it, KT. Thank you.
All right.
All
Okay.
right. You too. KT is a good guy.
Yeah, those are good questions. So homeschooling, we haven't really been exposed. At least our the people I grew up with, we haven't really been exposed too much to homeschooling. I don't know specifically what geographical groups or what.
I was
but
homeschooled a couple of years.
I thought I heard about that.
Yeah.
So, in general, I do like the fact that public education or private education. I think a big part of the education system and just going to school is getting that social interaction. And there's a bigger know-how besides like 2 + 2 is 4, and like the second president of the U.S. was named so and so, and there's bigger things beyond that. And the education, having to go to school with other kids, those are things that are really, really valuable, that are gonna play a big part in this development of a child and who becomes an adult. So I think homeschooling can be, in my opinion, because I don't have any kids yet, and I think like my brothers recently had babies, and I could see how like the conversations that we have is we start pondering different areas. So I haven't yet pondered those areas too well, but homeschooling in the early years, I think it creates a good bonding. I mean, you get to cater specific type of education with quality if you're doing it well. If people are qualified to do so and can do it well. But I just, in general, I prefer the idea of going into the education system. Hopefully, your neighborhood, because it varies by city, your neighborhood has a good education system. But even still, the lessons that they're going to learn, even if you consider the academics subpar to real quality, they're super valuable in terms of learning how to fit in, interact with people, peer pressure, dealing with peer pressure, challenges, all that stuff. That's
Yeah, I
important
agree.
things in
I
life.
agree about the social thing. Like, I remember I was homeschooled in 3rd grade, and then like I came back in 4th grade, and I was still like popular because it was basically the same kids. And then I was homeschooled in 6th grade, and then going into 7th grade, it was like much bigger class. There were like multiple 6th grade classes, and so it wasn't all the same kids when I came back in 7th grade, and that was like a shock to me to come back in 7th grade. I felt that I wasn't prepared socially for all of that, and like it was all the bad kids coming in from
The bad.
where
There's a lot. There's a lot of rowdy kids, but dealing
Right.
with them is prepping you for
It
the
is.
big show.
Yeah.
and even that was your experience. My experience, my perception of James, guys, by the way, as meeting him as a 14-year-old kid is he was an introvert. He kind of kept to himself. It was hard to get reactions out of him in a way that just like he was clearly different in a social way where it attracted me to him in a way where like I want to see what this guy's all about. I feel like he's holding back stuff, or there's some kind of fear there. You were clearly different and holding back certain parts about yourself. At least that was my perception of you.
Yeah.
In the early high school years. So
Yeah,
and I don't know if
actually-
those were things that come about because of going through homeschooling and not being in this in the rat race.
Right.
Of
I don't know if I could blame it all on homeschooling
No.
because like people would say, "Oh, he's shy," even as like a little kid, and so I don't know. But it definitely I felt unprepared for 7th grade because I was homeschooled in 6th grade, and I felt that if I had gone into 6th grade, maybe I could have been better prepared. But also like there's preparation that happens at home too, because there's a culture in every family where in my family, if we fought, it was quick to say, get along. and so we never even got to like throwing blows, except for like Robert because he was so small, he could hit us and it didn't matter. But there was like a family culture that you know every family has their like traumas.
For sure.
So like with our upbringing, and especially me, like every individual has their traumas too. So every kid is going to come out a little different. And so I definitely was like holding back. I was like trying to be controlling myself, trying not to be nerdy, trying to like
very reserved,
different,
very reserved guy.
But yet I like there was an admiration for like the more outgoing people. And it was funny because like I could see my dad still liked Jackson and you and the people that were like out loud, funny, and lively. So it was like, by that time, I couldn't make myself be lively. You know?
No. You got to be yourself.
I have to be myself.
There's nothing wrong with being this way or that.
Right.
There's nothing wrong. We all got to be. I mean, that's what made our group. That's what makes like the dynamic between a friendship work. The fact that not everyone could be the joke teller.
Yeah.
No one's gonna listen.
Not that I wanted to be anything different, but there, like you said, there was something holding back. Anyway, what's the second thing to answer?
The other
KT's?
thing was about not substitute teaching. No, what did he say?
He said, "What are two things that the audience doesn't know about me?"
the audience doesn't know about James. Like what's like oh my gosh, there's so many things. James is a brutal, vicious soccer player. We played on a Saturday league, and I know. Do we have pictures?
We have a couple pictures.
Yeah, there he is.
Me playing.
We played in a Saturday soccer league in Baldwin Park. You know, the typical crowd is Baldwin Park, El Monte, San Gabriel Valley type of people.
And that's
dads
like
with the
a lot
kids
of Hispanics, but like
mostly Latinos.
oriented.
You hear all Spanish on the field. Pásala, güey, pásala, And then there's James, and James gave us an edge. They're like, "Oh, dude, they got this like fit-looking white dude." It's like, is he German or what? But either way, regardless on the field, there's a whole other language on the field. Sports, the interaction in sports is a language within itself, and how people play and how rough. And James did not hold back, whether it be a 6'4" big like Mexican dude, and James would sweep him or get up in his face. He was completely fearless. And when I say vicious, because he was almost of a brute. Maybe it's because we lacked a little bit of finesse.
Right.
James and I, we weren't formally trained in soccer. We didn't grow up in playing leagues. No, we were runners. We were fit. We like kicking around the ball. Let's make a team.
Yeah.
And here we are on this team, and maybe out of lack of finesse, we played a little bit brutish, and James was one of those.
Right.
And as a defender, that means anyone gets in his zone and he'd take him down. So there's a little bit of James Hake there.
Nice.
And it's funny. He gets off the field, and there he is with his little bag. He had this little bag. People have soccer bags like Nike, Adidas, cool soccer bags. James had like a plastic bag from Northgate Markets, or like Vaughn's, and he'd have his Gatorade there. Always a Gatorade, like probably some snack, probably something healthy. And yeah, sure enough, he's off the field. And he, by the way, adding on to that, he never. Did you wash your jersey? We had white uniforms.
Oh, yeah.
That white uniform. It looked white there, but that thing was yellow. Actually,
eventually I started washing.
Was that color corrected? Because his uniform was pretty yellow. So that's one thing. Another thing I would say is, let me see. He's got like this very childish silliness to him. That we're talking about you as a reserved person,
right?
But I've had the pleasure of seeing that silliness come out, whether it be taking a road trip, or just hanging out and listening to music.
Halloween parties?
Yeah, Halloween parties. Yeah, at a party, and you just see that part of James just come out.
Yeah, look, I was a cholo.
Look, there's James Hake dressed as a cholo.
Yeah, that's the second time I dressed as a cholo.
We threw a lot of epic Halloween parties, and James always showed up, and he was there. And that reserved part of James Hake, at some points, he plays. He plays. He comes out, and he's just, I am who I am, and he's wild, and it's fun. It's fun seeing that. Yeah,
so like Anthony keeps a big circle of friends. He's like the guy that organizes things. He was the team captain. You're the one that organized the soccer team, and you're the one that threw the Halloween parties and stuff like that. And so it was always fun to play and our soccer team was Chupacabras.
Chupacabras.
AC, Athletic Club. When that means goat sucker. It's like the mythical.
It's a mythical, like, Bigfoot
monster.
creature. Yeah, he sucks goats. Like in South America, they're turning up, and we just wanted. We're like, let's get a mascot. You know, a lot of mascots were.
And you
taken.
created your own jersey out of like a design that you drew up.
Yeah, that was an original drawing right there.
Yeah, it was nice.
Thank you.
So, and back then I didn't have. The reason I had that Halloween costume ready was because that was 2010, Halloween 2010, when I shaved my head, buzzed my head.
Yeah.
And like tried to put it black. And there's Anthony playing soccer.
Hey, look at me. That's a great picture.
Yeah,
of me.
it's nice. And then like you're like, there's cholos that have hair. And then like I kept it because people liked it. Actually, Jesse liked it. He's like, it brings out your masculinity. You look more like a man, a grown man. You look like a boy with the hair. And so, like, I kept it buzzed for a while, and it was nice. It was convenient. And now, like, I have my hair going out in my beard.
Look at you falling into the peer pressure, huh? Jesse's like, I like it. You're like, okay, I'll do it more, Jesse.
Yep. We'll talk more about that. I got a caller. Caller, what's your name and where are you calling from? Hello. Are you there?
Hello.
I'll keep him on, see if he responds. And in the meantime, you mentioned like a coach.
Sorry about that.
Oh, okay, there you are.
I had mute on. Sorry about that.
Okay.
This is Steven. I'm calling from Delaware.
Hey, Steven. Nice to hear from you.
Hey. So I missed some of the live stream. So pardon me if you already covered this. So this what is the name of the guest? I'm sorry. Can you?
His name is Anthony Solorzano.
Oh, okay.
He's
and
a
you guys
filmmaker.
went to high school together?
Yeah.
I just want to get okay. All right. Now with you guys going to high school together, I did have a question. Was there ever any like in terms of what we see in the news in terms of like a lot of tension that's going on within California, specifically, Southern California, in terms of the whole immigration thing? Was there ever any instances of any type of conflict with that when you guys were in school together?
It was underlying, but nobody talked about it. There was Prop 187 in 1996, I think, that came out, and it was a concern for some people, but it wasn't really a controversial issue in that nobody talked politics during that time, and there were some people who were in the country illegally from other schools and maybe from our school, and maybe some parents, but it was never really. I never knew about it, and I heard about Prop 187, but I didn't even know what it was.
Yeah, I wasn't aware of anything. The 15, 16-year-old high school mind is probably more concerned about that cute girl he likes or getting the homework done. Than these were bigger issues, and because they weren't at least a real tangible threat or in any way or actual issue in our face, it was in the back burner of our concerns.
Right, understood. Now, what's your opinion on the immigration now? What's going on?
What about immigration?
About?
Just immigration.
Are you for
in
the
general,
wall? Are you for the wall? Trump's big beautiful wall.
For the wall?
I feel it's such a big topic. There's so many angles to talk about it. I don't know. It seems a little like an archaic type of solution.
Do you think that immigration's not a problem, or that it is?
I mean, it's something that's always needs to be we've had to control it because it does need to be controlled. As a problem, though, that by you framing it like has it been a problem? I don't know if it has been a problem. I think it's always been something natural.
in regards to illegal
it's almost
immigration.
like a given. Yeah, it's almost been a given, as in even illegal immigration being there. Like it's always allowed the country to function and work. But at the end of the day, I don't really research this stuff too much. So whatever I talk about is just my general perception.
I understand.
So sorry.
One other thing. Now, were you born in this country, or
I was.
Were you born somewhere else?
Yeah, I was born in this country.
Oh, okay. So I wanted to ask in regards to that, just one last thing, and I'll let you guys get going. In regards to that, in terms of you saying that illegal immigration, we've been doing fine with that. I would just have to disagree with you that it has been bad for our country, and it's gotten worse based on that. But that's all. I just wanted to know what your opinion on that was.
Okay.
Appreciate it, Steven.
All right, no problem.
Thanks
Thank
for tuning in.
All right.
From Delaware, huh?
Take care.
Dude, you
Yeah,
got,
all
you
over
got
the
people
country.
from all over the country, bro.
Yeah.
We had Delaware caller. Where else? What were the other ones?
2 Delaware callers,
Two
and
Delaware
then one
callers.
from Maryland,
Wow.
and then yeah.
You got people from Delaware on the payroll?
No paid callers here. That's interesting. You don't have to answer this, but were you an anchor baby?
What's an anchor baby?
An anchor baby is a child born to a parent who is not a citizen or is not here legally or something.
Yeah, the term anchor baby. I've never heard of that.
You haven't heard of that?
Who made that up?
I don't
Did
know.
you make that up?
No, it's been a term. It's been a term among the right for a long time.
What is it? How does it connect to an anchor?
Basically, like anyone born in this country has what's called birthright citizenship under common practice nowadays. Mm-hmm. And they cite like some amendment that allowed the freed slaves to become citizens. Mm-hmm. And because the freed slaves were born in this country, so they became citizens. That was like the 14th Amendment. And so like they use it today to say that anybody, even if a illegal alien woman comes here, or undocumented immigrant woman comes here illegally and drops a baby here, has a baby, then that baby is an anchor baby, it's a citizen, and it helps her have a case to stay here.
Well, I don't know. I mean, personally, asking me that question, I don't like the term. I'm an American baby. I'm as American as you, James. Are you any more American than me?
In a sense, yes, culturally, I would say, because
Culturally?
because
What is American culture?
in my opinion, like anybody who votes liberal or Democrat is kind of anti-American, and even the Republicans are kind of anti-American, I've found. And like I remember getting into a fight.
This is turning into your rant.
Yeah. I remember getting into a fight with another mutual friend of ours.
You don't talk like facts. You're just like throwing out your stuff. But
Okay,
I mean,
so-
just the
so
term
I
anchor baby. That's not an official thing. So like, I'm not even gonna like regard that question. I'll say I'm an American baby. I was
Alright.
American born, and I've been American raised, and I love this country.
Yeah.
And if we could, yeah.
Right on. How do you like my shirt?
So it's a
says
black
the great-
shirt with a silkscreen of Trump's face,
Yeah.
looking not too happy.
It's his Twitter profile picture.
Oh, is it? Yeah.
But he's always looking like
and
that.
then it says the Great White Hope.
Yeah.
I mean, the style, the aesthetic of it is kind of punk rock. It's got this like, just like, simple black and white.
Yeah. It reminds me of like, I don't know.
I wouldn't wear it, but
I don't know if I caught this from you guys because we were taking in high school. We took cops class, which was
capuchinos.
we would
Oops, sorry.
take silk screening, and so like, and you were always making T-shirts, and so I don't know if I got inspired from that, but like, some of the sayings that this is a Jesse saying. This is what Jesse refers to
Jesse said that?
as President Trump. He calls him the Great White Hope. Even on like cable news shows, formal interviews, he's calling him the Great White Hope, and people are like, "What?"
When are
I
you
think
gonna
he
wear
might have
it?
even.
I want to wear a shirt of a James Hake quote.
Nice. Yeah, we are going to get a shirt from. I'm going to make a shirt of AJ's song that says "La La La" because anybody who sees me commenting saying under the Hake Report, they put "La La La" because of AJ's song.
It's gimmicky, huh?
Yeah, it's cool.
Catching on.
Right.
All right.
So, what do you think of Trump as being compared to somebody like one of our high school cross country coach, in that he's kind of a I asked this question of AJ last year, in that he's kind of a I don't want to say the bad word, but like a jerk. And when he needs to be, he's fun to listen to, and then he can be like tough when he needs to be. He can be borderline intimidating in the sense that he's hard to work with. Like you'll I don't know if you're aware, but there's a lot of people who find him very difficult to work with, and they resign or he fires
Yeah,
them or whatever.
I hear random stuff. About
And so, like,
radio.
if your impression of Trump as compared to, like, somebody who commands respect, like my dad, kind of to an extent, or Mr. O. I'll abbreviate it as that.
A coach.
Yeah.
So you want me to compare him to an actual coach that we had, or as
yeah?
a coach?
Do you see that comparison in that, like, that's like part of the root of why I respect the president so much.
Oh, really? Because
Yeah.
so
I see him as,
so
like,
you like the coaches we've had, and you see Trump with similar qualities.
Yeah.
Oh.
Like commanding of respect and genuine too. Like there have been teachers that are not a real authority, and then there's the teachers that are like a real authority. And I felt like he, like our coach, was one of those, and I felt that President Trump is like that.
Oh, okay.
Or what's your impression of Trump?
Shoot, there's so much going on with that, man. Like you said, I'm a little bit apolitical.
As a man. Yeah, never mind the
Well,
politics.
It's got to be as a man. It can't be as a
Right.
robot, bro.
No, I know, but apart from the politics.
Okay, I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
Him as a man. I got you. Like his leadership skills. You know what? One thing that I value and I regard highly in people is like a sense of humility. I think humility is very important in dictating class, leadership, like true valor, true courage. Humility is important, and I don't know. I don't know if he has that. I don't know if he.
That's interesting. I think
humility.
I wonder if somebody I know that I'm close to that said the same thing, and he may have voted for him even. Might have even been my dad. I'm not sure. I don't want to slander my dad, but I think that he might have said the same thing, and I don't get that. I feel that Trump is very humble.
Oh, okay.
In the sense that, yes, he's like you, in the sense that he promotes himself. I've always known you to be confident, or at least like promote what you're doing, what you're about, or promote other things. And he is very good at like promoting himself, and he kind of has to because the media won't promote him. But he says stuff about himself that's true, or casts himself in the best possible light. But then when he's one-on-one with people, I always hear this. I heard it from Ben Carson. I heard it even from some Democrats, that he really listens to them. So like when you're one-on-one with him, he's listening, and he's humble. And so,
well, in your opinion, he's humble, and
yeah,
I think a lot
in
of
reality,
people,
he's
I think a
humble.
lot of people.
I think a lot of people judge him.
Again,
based
these are all
on-
perceptions.
Right.
You always like to say things like they're facts. Your perception is you think he's a humble guy. A lot of people wouldn't agree with that.
All right, cool. Was there anything else you wanted to cover? What you call the American New Wave cinema?
I did say that term with you.
I like that term.
Okay. So I guess what I'm referring to is, at least with this movie, I'm really curious about. I'm really interested in taking classic American genres. Whether, you know, there are some classic American genres, right? Like the sports movie, right, where they have to go and the team is training. You got the montage, and there's certain conventions to these genres, right? When people come with certain expectations, but just giving them like a new twist, like the face of our movie. I always talk about the face of our movie, whether it be that Asian kid or these like Latino football players, or with this white kid, and it's a very diverse, refreshing look to what we're used to in mainstream. Because I watch LA movies that take place in LA, and they're high school movies, and you still like there's like one Latino in there, like one Asian, and the whole cast is white. It's like this doesn't feel. It feels like this fantasy land. Like this is not anything close to Southern California. Like what's going on? Where is this place?
Maybe it's in Malibu.
It's a twisted, but it's been very safe for mainstream cinema. So I think this American New Wave, if I want to call it, is giving a refreshing twist, flavor flavor to classic American genres. And for us, I think Varsity Punks, that was one of the, not a goal with it, but one of the results. Because you go in with certain goals for what you want to accomplish, and then at the end, and then throughout the process, you pivot, and your goals realign and redefine, and then at the end, you come out with certain results. And one of the things that I think that we realized was that just like redefining and molding the American look. What is American?
That reminds me of let's play that part B, Joel, when you're ready.
Looks like we got a new kid on the team. So I'm thinking we'll try you in the JV race this week.
I don't do JV. Trust me, I'm varsity.
Let's get down!
Take these towels out of here. They smell like ass.
Terrible. So, yeah, you mentioned how like this is more like representing like
the culture that I grew up in the San Gabriel Valley.
Yeah.
Where I think in at least again mainstream Hollywood, I always say when they do have like this Latino culture, it's East LA, and it doesn't go beyond that. And there's like a whole world east of East LA, and even in other areas of California, where there's a distinct culture, there's a distinct flavor that is particularly different to what gets almost cartoonized in popular cinema.
Going back to that caller, Steven, and I will get to the rest of the calls. He brought up immigration. And he feels that it's been a problem. You feel that it's not been a problem because you just living your life. You haven't seen it. Sure. But what do you think about? It's very interesting that the Mexico, Central, South America, they became pretty interracial, in the sense that like the Spaniards came, and then they mixed with the natives. And then they became Mexicans. And so like there's some that are more Spaniard, some that are more native looking, but they're all Mexicans. Whereas with the English, when the English came, I don't know, to America, they didn't seem to mix with the Indians that much. And so like America stayed pretty white until like the 60s. And then they started bringing in like Mexicans and other Central South Americans and Asians, Koreans, all of them, and Africans and all that. Have you ever wondered about the fact that all these so-called white majority countries started taking in all these like colored people?
What was the question again?
Have you ever wondered about all these white countries like Europe is doing the same thing? It's becoming more like diverse.
Yeah.
Have you ever wondered why these white countries are bringing in all these colored people?
You think they're bringing them in? Like it's like
yeah,
hey.
like somebody's allowing them in, whatever.
It's like there's ads. It's like, hey, we want you. Come on into our country.
Yeah.
I think it's just naturally happening. I mean, like you pose the scenario as in like it's an agenda that these countries have to diversify their countries and just.
I think that it's the weakness of whites, in the sense that the politicians like to be nice. Whites are very nice people generally. And so, like, they're accommodating, whatever.
These are all, you generalize a lot.
Right.
I mean, you're saying white people are nice. I mean, I know a lot of white people who are not nice. And I know a lot of super nice white people, so, yeah.
Most of their neighborhoods are pretty nice, and then they're nice people. And then, like, yeah, like, if you check my room, my room looks ghetto. And so, so maybe I'm
messy?
Black inside, or maybe
messy or
messy.
Wait, what?
But I'm saying
messy has no color. Messy can be any color.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, like, there's different cultures have different phenomena that happen with them, and so like the whites in general are very accommodating and all that, and then all these people are coming in, and then they're turning around and calling the whites racist.
Oh, is that what you think?
Yeah.
Cool. What?
It's a shame. Anyways, let me get to some callers. Caller, what's your name and where are you calling from?
Hello.
Yes. Come off the speakerphone.
Oh, hi. Okay.
Ooh, James knows. James knows.
Hold on. Caller, what's your name and where are you calling from? Hello.
Hello?
Yes. Who's this?
Hey, sorry. This is, I'm sorry to call on the second time. This is Steven calling back from Delaware.
You can only call once, man.
I know. I have to get this through because you brought up something really important after I hung up. When you ask if the...
I'm too lenient. This is the whiteness coming out.
I'm sorry?
I said this is my white weakness coming out. Letting you call.
No, when you asked him if he was an anchor baby, he did not even answer the question.
But he doesn't know the term. He doesn't like the term. Oh, no, he said he's an American baby.
Yeah.
He basically doesn't...
My answer was, I don't know that term. I don't know what it means.
Don't sweat it, Stephen.
Were your parents both born here in the United States?
No, they were not.
Okay, how did they come here? Did they come here legally with papers?
You know that they have a better version of this story, so I would let them tell the story.
See, the fact that you don't know that proves that you're an anchor baby, and this is a problem with the illegal immigration that's going on. Is that you guys are taking opportunities away from Americans who have been here for centuries.
What's up with this guy?
That's the whole issue
do?
with it.
What did I do wrong? Why is he so mad at me?
And you should know what the term anchor baby is because you are one. That's why you won't admit it.
What the heck? This guy? Who is this guy?
All right,
this guy talked to me, I'd be like, who the
All right, thank you.
heck is this guy?
Yeah, people are
with
heated
that,
about this immigration thing.
Why is he heated with
I think that there's this culture of like sneaking in and stuff like that. Where
that guy's pissed. He pretty much called to tell me off. You know, we talked about like cussing on shows and stuff, and
right?
And I mean, that's him like coming over, like calling to tell me off. Like, hey, you're a freaking anchor baby, yelling in my face. His calm version of that. So whatever. I don't know. It's
a heated thing, especially with that guy happens to be black. I happen to know, and some of the blacks are very heated about it.
That doesn't matter.
Caller, what's your name and where are you calling from?
Okay, so my name is Joe, calling from Atlanta.
Hey, Joe, good to hear from you. Real quick, you got 30 seconds.
Okay, so I need to say what to say. Okay, so I'm an immigrant. I've told you before. You know, one of the problems, like when you said your guest, what he fails to understand is this. Okay, the whites build nations.
You're giving these guys a platform.
We call them. They build nations, and everybody wants to go to the white nation. Why can't other nations or other races build their nation? I mean, I don't understand this. I'm African, and I've come to America. Why isn't my nation or Africa able to build its own nation so we can stay there? Why? What is wrong that we prefer to come to a racist white country? I don't get it. Can your guest tell me? Why can't Mexico or South America build its nation so they can stay in their own country? Why does it have to be a white nation build their country, and then everybody wants to come there and call them racist? Why?
I don't know. Have you ever pondered this?
I wouldn't know the answer to that. No, I've never wondered
You ever heard that question?
I've never wondered that, no.
Yeah. I appreciate it, Joe. Nice to hear from you.
All right.
We've exposed him to some confrontations and questions that he has never been exposed to before.
Yeah.
So, any last words for the show, for the guests, for the audience, I mean?
My words?
Yeah.
No. Just go ahead. You can ask me a couple of things. I don't know.
We're gonna wrap up here. Thank you guys for catching this show. It's been very interesting. This guy is not a political guy, and I think it's kind of what happens with people where you don't really know what's going on. So like, how can you hold it against them?
It's not about not knowing what's going on. It's just
no, but you don't know this aspect of what's going on.
There's a lot of things that are not.
You know some of what's going on, but you don't know this. Like you hadn't been exposed to that world yet before.
No, I see it.
Okay.
I see it. I don't. I choose to not engage with some of them because I don't think they listen sometimes. So
yeah.
It's like screw them.
Well, nice talking with you. Thanks for coming on.
Yeah, man. Thanks for.
Check out Varsity Punks. It's varsitypunks.com works, and check them out on social media. And you can, fight them. All right, see you guys. Thanks, Anthony.
Yeah.